Hello there. Behind me is the last active railroad crossing of the Los Alamitos Branch Railroad. What is that, you might ask? And how did I get here? Well, I'm going to answer all those questions in a minute. Which brings us to here, Cottonwood Church, where I happen to go to church.
One Sunday, my girlfriend and I were walking back to the car, and I couldn't help but notice this long, narrow stretch of gravel that resembled a right-of-way. I found out that underneath this church was once a rail line that helped build the sprawling suburbs of northern Orange County. A quick online search led me down a rabbit hole. I found maps, stories, and even old photos of this forgotten line.
In 1881, I.W. Hellman and the J. Bixby Company joined together in buying the Los Alamitos Rancho. In 1896, ex-Senator William Clark of Montana purchased 8,100 acres of rancho land for raising sugar beets. He planned the township of Los Alamitos, building the first sugar refinery in Southern California. He also constructed housing and recreational buildings for the workers. The beet factory, though, was the heart of it all, a massive complex where farmers brought their harvest to be processed and shipped out by rail, the Southern Pacific. But as the decades passed and industries changed, the factory had to shut down in the 1920s. By the 1960s, Los Alamitos had transformed. The city built its new city hall, new neighborhoods grew, and the rail line adapted. Here on this map you can see the tracks by Bar Lumber, and nearby, the old beet factory site, and is now home to other industries like a local butcher shop and small warehouses. One discovery that surprised me was the spur that branched off toward Coyote Creek. It looped around the lumber store, crossing Los Alamitos Boulevard. This was ripped out in the 1970s. A few short years ago, this empty field still had small sections of those original tracks until an apartment complex was built over them. A YouTuber who once worked on the line shows the customers that kept the branch alive, a rare look into its final years. Those customers included that butcher shop, as well as the Los Alamitos horse racetrack, delivering feed for the horses. Some sources claim horses too. And of course, Bar Lumber, which later became Ganal Lumber in the 1990s. In the 90s, only a few local branch railroads remained. The Los Alamitos branch was quiet, its freight dwindling down to just two customers, Ganal Lumber and the Los Alamitos horse racetrack, just a short distance from where I first discovered this line. Old photos show an SP engine parked right in front of the stables, delivering feed and supplies. Today the rails are gone, but in the parking lot, you can still see the outline of a ramp where they once were, including paved over rails. This stretch of grass near those stables once echoed with the sounds of small engines leaving the track. The same spot in this 1980s photo shows an SP engine pulling out of the track. Last bit of activity before the silence took over. Let's hop on board and head on over to Ganal. Today, Ganal Lumber carries on a legacy of rail-served businesses. Even if this yard no longer receives rail shipments, when I stopped by to pick up some insulation for my townhome, I couldn't help but notice the forklifts and the workers loading trucks, a modern echo of what this line looked like in the 90s. On August 24, 1998, UP filed to abandon the branch. It was from this milepost onward towards Los Alamitos service had been cut. Just a year later in 1999. I was thrilled to still see old railroad ties scattered about. If these could talk, I'm sure they could tell some interesting stories. This is headed towards Los Alamitos Junction and Stanton, and this is looking back towards Los Alamitos. Even now, driving across this last crossing feels surreal, as if you could still see an engine pulling through here in the late 90s. Beyond here, the rails merge into the Los Alamitos Junction, still used today for switching, a living link to the past. That takes us back here to the last railroad crossing on the Los Alamitos Branch Railroad.